And we are back. Let's give everybody a minute to come on over. Mark made it in the transition. Feel like I'm sending you guys through a outer space portal to come back to this other stream. It's like something on Star Wars. Mark changes AKA again. I just realized it. Oh, that's funny. What's funny is that every time somebody references you in chat, Mark, it pops up. Oh, that's funny. The black hole. I know, right? Hey, you know what that reminds me of? Did you guys ever watch? By the way, I'm just killing time until they go live on. I mean, they're live on Court TV, but the um, oops, hang on. But the courtroom isn't up yet, so there was a 30-minute delay for those of you who are just joining in. Court TV posted that there would be a 30-minute delay, and I don't know if that's a 30-minute delay because of the fact that the court is making them have a delay in them broadcasting it, or if there's actually something going on where they were running behind today. Hey, Smokey Joe. It's supposed to start in about 11 minutes. Not sure if it'll start on time, but that's what they say. But thanks for coming in. So what I was gonna say, do you guys ever remember the movie? I don't know why I remember this because we went to the movie theater during the summer and saw this, and it was so exciting because we didn't go to the movie theater a lot when I was little. We went and saw the movie Tron. I mean, we went to like Star Wars and stuff like that, but I don't know why the movie Tron stood out to me. Oh, and the other one that oh gosh, Flash Gordon, the old school Flash Gordon. That's the other movie I think about. Our parents worked during the summer, so we never really got to do a whole lot during the summer unless we were on, they took vacation and we went somewhere. And I just remember our aunt would take us and she took us to see Tron. I remember going to see Star Wars, of course. I think of what else we watched back then. Can't remember. All right, so why are we here? Well, let me put up my little banner. Now, I'm not sure if her motion to dismiss her case because remember, we got the same judge, same people, same players in this case as we do in the other case with Arizona versus her for the unaliving of her husband or ex-husband. Well, it was her husband at the time, Charles Vallow. Now she's put in that she wants a retrial, and she said that because of what was said with the juror, and right outside the courtroom, right after they convicted her. So she's foregone her sentencing on that one until the end of this one because she wants to be sentenced for both, I guess, at the same time. But this trial right here is the conspiracy to unalive Brandon Boudreaux in October of 2019. Now that was when he was married to her niece Melanie. She was very close with her niece because her sister died early, and so she became like the good aunt or her stepmom in a way. And I guess Melanie and Brandon were going through a divorce or going through a separation. Child custody battles had already started. And somehow or another, Lori got involved and called old Uncle Alex to do the deed. So Alex goes and he tries to pew pew uh, Brandon Boudreaux. I think it was outside his home, if I'm not mistaken. He missed, obviously, but this is the last piece that she hasn't been convicted on in all of her crimes that she's committed that we know of. Let me make that clear, that we know of. So, whether or not they're going to discuss the motion that was filed from Charles's case, I can imagine they will because remember when they were discussing that case or when they were meeting for that case, they discussed this case too. So I can imagine it's going to be a little bit of a mosh posh between the two, and we'll hear about all of it. There was a great interview. I call it great. I mean, it was an interesting interview that she did with an Arizona news station. And I did not do anything on it, and the reason I didn't do anything on it on my channel is because I had tried to show clip from their news station once before, and they, copyrighted me on it. So I didn't even show it, but it was an interview that she did right after the trial was over, like, literally next day or something. So if you get a chance, if you're interested and you wanna go watch it, go watch it. It blew my mind how she just is in complete flippin' denial, and the things that she said to that news reporter was just like, "Really? Really?" Just ugh. Yes, I remember drive-ins. We used to love the drive-ins. They actually had one in Atlanta when I lived there 15, 20 years ago. They're trying to bring it back. And they played the movie Twister there and we went and saw it. And we had fried chicken and beer. And we went out and sat on the lawn and watched it. It was so much that was cool. I wish we could do that nowadays. I think nowadays in the society that we live in, drive-ins just would never make it again. But yeah, I do miss those. Those were fun. Carolyn says if you cannot Carolyn says, if you connect all the dots, there's something rotten in Denmark with her husband, Joseph Ryan, and her brother, Alex. Just a little bit too much of a coincidence for me. I don't know the whole story behind her brother, or behind Joseph Ryan. I do know that Alex's death was considered to be suspicious, but was ruled natural causes. But many were suspicious about it. I mean, honestly, you guys, it could have been just natural causes. Isn't that something? I mean, it truly is something if you think about it. Okay, something's going on here. We've got some movement. Hang on. I want to take this off, close out some of my stuff here. I'm going to refresh this page real quick. Okay. Wait a minute. Did they cut the stream? I think they cut the stream, y'all. They did. They cut it. Let me see what, hang on. Let me see what they said in chat before they cut it. Are y'all still listening to me, by the way? You can hear me okay? Okay. Hang on. I'm trying to go back to Court TV's live, their chat. It's not popping up. It's a pretrial conference that was supposed to go on. Why did they cut it? Technical difficulties, it says. All right. Well, hang on. Let's go back to Court TV. Maybe they're bringing it back up. Oh, now they've switched over to Karen Reed trial. For those of us who are not watching this trial, I'm so sick of seeing it. So they're not going to show it. All right, Court TV, what are y'all trying to pull here? All right, hang on. Louise, you haven't followed it either. I just don't. Mark says he can't hear me because he's muted. Thank you, Durrell. I'm going to keep that up. I'm going to go over here and open another browser, and I want to see if I can find anybody else that's streaming. Her, probably not. I bet Court TV was the only one in there. But sometimes they have like a, what do you call it? They have like a local station in there. It looks like everybody's in the same position I'm in. Court TV was our go-to for it. Yep. I don't know if it's gonna happen or not, you guys. Oh my gosh. If they went over to Karen Reed's trial, now where's the one they had open for Lori earlier? It's not. Looks like it's not even here. They took it down. I'm gonna try one more thing. Bear with me. I shall not give up. Shall not give up. Going over here to check out Court TV Live to see what they're saying on their little broadcast thing that they have. I did watch a little bit of what was going on with Karen Reed. I'm trying to think of where I was watching because I was just curious. Yep, they're talking about Massachusetts. So anyway, I watched a little bit of it. I'm trying to think of what I watched. It was probably a documentary, something like 48 hours. I wanted the quick version of everything. It does sound like she could have possibly been framed. It seems like it's one of those that you have to everybody's trying to figure it out because it's a he said, she said. There's a lot of other people saying this or that happened, but then the evidence kind of goes against what these other people are saying in a way. Name says the judge is biased and the cops are corrupt. Can't watch it. Yeah, it's like I'm saying, like if it's what's going on with fans only, Kerry. What's going on? Oh, OnlyFans, Courtney. I was gonna do a video for you guys because I was gonna go in and look at all the dockets because we haven't talked about that one. We haven't talked about what's her name? What's her name? Not Jody. The Utah mother that wrote the book. We haven't talked about her, and we haven't talked about Jennifer Gladhill lately. And it's because nothing's going on in their case. It's just sitting there. I can't believe that the Courtney Clenny case is still just sitting there and nothing's going on. It's like, what are these attorneys doing? Why are her attorneys letting her sit in jail this long? I don't know. It just is weird to me. You'd think they'd want to get her out. I'm waiting for Courtney Clenny case too. I really was looking forward to having that trial shown on our channel. And here's the thing. If they screw us over and they end up doing that trial around the same time that we decide to go watch the Idaho trial, I'm going to be very upset because we decided this past week that we definitely want to watch the Idaho trial. But before I do the Idaho trial, I've got so much to do. I really need to put like a quick thing on the case together. I did hear that there was a telephone call that Chris Watts had made to his attorney or something. And he was saying that he thought he should be able to be released somehow or another. A good point, Smokey Joe. I saw something about that. And I thought he said he just didn't think he could take it any longer. I'm like, oh, you poor thing. You poor thing. And do you guys think that his girlfriend should have gotten in trouble for that? Oh, he's found Jesus. Oh, don't they always find Jesus in prison? Honestly, if he really did find Jesus, I'm glad. But because Jesus would want me to be glad. That's the only reason I'm glad. But that Nicole chick that he was dating at the time, that he was having an affair with, do any of you guys think that she was in on it, on anything, or that she knew more than she said? Patty said, I didn't know Jesus was lost. He's lost to some people. Smokey Joe says, I do think she knew more than what she said. I don't know. I kind of wonder if she was manipulated. He seems like the type that's just he's so dumb. He's a dumb man. He's like just easily manipulated by sex. Easily. Like he just seemed like the type that the women in the relationship wear the pants. So I guess that's probably the reason why a lot of people felt like she was probably somehow linked to it or possibly involved. Okay, hang on. Laura sent me a link. Let me open it. Laura, where'd you get this from? Oh, I don't want to use her stream. Okay, hang on. I want to know where she's getting her stream from. I'm not going to use another streamer's stream. Hang on. They got the case up. They got the Lori Vallow thing up. Let me just really quick. Let me try to find it. KTVB has got it up. All right, here we go. We're going to go from the beginning. Thank you, Miss Laura, for keeping me straight, girlfriend. Let me switch over to it now. Not that one. This one. All right, we're going to start from the beginning because we're not missing a thing. Just like that song. I don't want to miss a thing.
I need to give you one with a point.
Right. So I gave a copy to Trina. Yeah.
Wait, do you guys want to hear what she said? Let's go back a little bit. See if we can hear him talking in the courtroom. And I'm going to go on mute.
Thank you.
I need to give you one with a point.
Right. So I gave a copy to Trina. Yeah.
They cut it off. I was hoping we get to hear something juicy. Why do people break bad in middle age? What are you talking about, Ralph? Break bad. Yeah, they're not going to sentence her until after this trial is done, and then they'll sentence her for both of them. I like this judge. He's calm, but let's hope that he's going to be really harsh with her when it comes time to sentence her. Here we go.
Take a minute.
All right, this is time set for a pretrial conference, State of Arizona versus Lori Daybell. 01242. Appearances, please.
Trina Kay on behalf of the state. For the record, I believe the victim is appearing virtually.
Lori Daybell.
All right. We have a number of things to discuss and get through here today. First of all is the motion for new trial the defendant filed. I received the response. I think the reply is due today. Is that being filed?
Yes, Your Honor, I have it right here. And
Is it ready to be filed?
yes,
Okay, we'll file that. You have a copy for the state?
I do.
Okay. The response, I'll take a look, or the reply, I should say, I'll take a look at that. The next thing I wanted to discuss was the state had filed a notice of its intent to use defendant's other acts to establish conspiracy, premeditation, and/or establish motive pursuant to Rule 404B. In your pretrial statement, you indicated you wish to strike or withdraw that?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so that's withdrawn. Next, we have state's request to preclude the media from showing the face of a testifying witness, one of the witnesses. I'm assuming you don't really have a dog in that fight, Ms. Daybell? Or do you have a response?
I don't have a dog in the fight, but I haven't had a chance to read over. I just got a bunch of this stuff, so I'm not really sure what they're asking for.
Well, one of the witnesses also works in an undercover capacity, and showing that witness's face could compromise other investigations or things that that witness is doing. So it's a request to not broadcast his face through the media out into the public.
And is this witness FBI or something to that effect?
It's Nicholas Balance. I think he is an FBI agent.
Correct, he is an FBI agent.
And he's a relevant witness because of why?
According to the state's notice, he created a PowerPoint regarding some of the Wi-Fi or cellular data
Cellular and
location.
Wi-Fi use, yes.
I have no real objection to him being obscured. I don't know how they'll do it, but.
All right, so I'll direct the media during trial when witness Nicholas Balance is called to testify. They can't broadcast his face out. They can focus the lower part of the witness stand or something like that, but his likeness or image or face should not be broadcast out to the public. So I'm essentially granting the state's request in that regard. Next, we have state's amended request for Rule 609 hearing and the defendant's response. When I read the amended request, you're simply adding the most recent conviction, correct?
Yeah.
You didn't really respond to that in your reply. You kind of just talked about the previous reply that you had made about, did you notice that she had asked to basically add your most recent conviction?
I saw that, but I didn't know what the law was since I wasn't sentenced for that yet. So I wasn't quite sure where to go on that. So I left it off.
Okay, with the 609, I think similar to the last trial, I'll put that off. And depending on if you testify or not, it only really becomes relevant if you decide to testify. So we'll table that for the time being. Next, I have the state's motion limiting to preclude inadmissible evidence relating to Tammy Latchik, who is a evidence scene technician type person from the, I think it's city of Chandler. Did
Gilbert.
you, or sorry, Gilbert, did you have a chance to review that?
I just got it and I am in the middle of responding to that. But I do have a request in that regard
Which is?
from the state, since it was, just given to us, and I'm sure that the state had that information clearly before now. We need additional information, and due to that late disclosure, I was going to ask the state if they could disclose to us the employment records of Tammy and the emails regarding this incident and any recordings or body cam videos, so that we don't have to have my investigator try to do an investigation so quickly. If they have that information, if it could be turned over to the defense so that we don't have to try to gather that information so quickly.
Well, I don't think you're necessarily entitled to all those things if it's deemed that incident is irrelevant to her testimony. So I think the threshold issue is if you want to file a response where you think that is relevant, something that you can get into, an incident that happened 4 years later, I guess when can you file your response?
Without any further information, I don't know when is that response necessarily due, Your Honor.
It was filed May 3rd, so technically it's already past due. So can you file it by next, you have a copy of it now,
I just got a copy, correct.
right? How about next Wednesday, the 21st?
Yes, I can do that.
All right, so we'll.
And I
set
have
that
a question
aside.
on that as well. Can I make an objection on the sealing? Can I ask under what law or rule or statute that this motion was sealed under?
They've requested to file it under seal because of the nature of the motion and the contents of what that incident is, not needing to necessarily be in the public eye. So if you want to include in your motion an objection to it being filed under seal, you can do that as well.
Okay,
So you'll file that no later than May 21st. I don't need a reply on that. I'll deal with that, I guess, probably our first day of trial or so.
so you're not going to set a 609 hearing?
This is not a,
Oh, not the 609, but a hearing for Tammy Lachik?
I can listen to oral argument when you filed your reply, but I don't believe I needed any sort of hearing on it. So I'll deal with that May 29th or 30th, I suppose. All right, then we have the defendant's motion for no restraints in trial dated May 6th. I don't know, in your motion, I don't know where you get the idea that the sheriff's office recommendation ever was that you have no restraints at all. Their minimum recommendation was that you wear a rack belt.
Well, I have it right here and I copied it verbatim.
Yeah, you
Okay,
said, what it said was my recommended minimum requirements as listed above, and those were to wear a rack belt.
It said, or the recommendation of MCSO was that they could have a unarmed detention officer and an armed deputy sheriff if I was to not have any restraints.
Right, but that wasn't their recommendation. I've received the defendant's motion. I've received non-party Maricopa County Sheriff Jerry Sheridan's response.
On the MCSO security justifications, my understanding is that was his recommendation.
Your Honor, Joseph V. Hill for the Sheriff's Office, if you have any questions.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll deny the motion from the defendant. The same conditions will be set that we had in the first trial, that being you wear the rack belt, no leg brace. There was one incident during the trial where you asked to take a break because a strap was hanging down behind your jacket. We did that. We rectified the situation. There's been no indication whatsoever that the jury noticed the rack belt or anything like that. So I think those conditions are appropriate and will remain for the second trial.
Your Honor, the jury was not polled to see if they noticed anything either. Was that correct?
Right. There was no request for that. All right. So next we have defendant's motion to consult with advisory council and team during trial dated May 6th. I don't know. I guess what exactly are you requesting? Are you requesting that during the lunch recesses you be housed somewhere where you can meet with your team?
Correct.
Okay.
And I know that it's a DO situation, and I know that our DO has his other obligations to do. So I didn't know if another officer could if something could be arranged so that I would have time with my team during those breaks and during lunchtime.
We did accommodate that during breaks and recesses during the trial to the extent that it doesn't delay the jury getting into the courtroom and resuming the trial when we need to, like when we take the 15-minute afternoon recess. That will continue. You'll have an opportunity to meet with them briefly. Over the lunch hour, I think is the real question. I did receive a response this morning from the sheriff's office, which indicates they don't really have an objection to that. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. There is an area on the fourth floor in the South Court Tower where she can be taken to meet with her advisory council, and they'll work that out.
All right. I don't have a problem with that. So if you need to meet with them when we break for lunch, just indicate to the DO that's what you need to do. There may be a day where you don't need to meet with them, but I'll essentially grant, Ms. Kay, I don't assume you have an issue with that.
I have no
All
position
right,
on it.
so I'll grant the defendant's motion on that she can meet during the lunch hour. Again, the only restriction on that is that we're not going to delay bringing in the jury at 1:30. We'll expect everyone back in the courtroom to start on time. All right, let's talk about the trial schedule and the screening. I received in the state's pretrial statement. Have you seen that?
I just did, yes.
Your Honor, may I be
Yes,
excused?
go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. The state's pretrial statement indicate there was some witness scheduling issues. If we get the jury sat on the 30th and impaneled on the 30th, the last Friday in May, and we have our opening statements and begin testimony and evidence Monday, June 2nd, you indicated that the state indicated you would run out of witnesses either Wednesday or sometime Thursday.
Correct.
All right.
That are available that week, yes.
Right, and then so we'll definitely go dark on Friday the 6th. I had initially indicated we would be in trial on that day, but if we can't have any witnesses here, we'll be dark on that day, and we'll indicate that for screening purposes for the jurors. I think we'll still indicate that we'll be in trial on the 5th, and we'll have to play that by ear. Maybe we will be dark, maybe we won't. But as far as when you resume on the 9th, you said you thought you would have 3 witnesses left at that point.
Correct.
Do you have an anticipation? Are those witnesses that would each take a whole day, or?
I think it's possible I could finish that day.
So ultimately what I'm getting at is trying to drill down the schedule and screening for the jury. Do we not need to screen them for the week of the 23rd?
Obviously, I just received the defendant's 15.2 that lists 2 different expert witnesses. I did request that they actually comply with Rule 15.2 and give me any information about any of these experts. They've also listed other witnesses. So because of that, I would still screen them for the other week.
Well, maybe we should address that. Is there still no report from Lonnie Dworkin that the state's received?
I have received nothing.
Do you have some sort of expert report you were disclosing?
We will, Your Honor, yes.
When?
Well, when is that going to be? Because it's way past due.
So the state did receive the affidavit from Lonnie explaining the things, which is why they turned over late discovery in the middle of trial. So we did have that. He's working on a few things for us as well now, and I will get with him as soon as possible and get that report to you as soon as possible.
All right, well, it's depending on what's in that report, it is likely to be precluded at this point, but I'll keep an open mind on that, and I guess we'll wait and see. Let's talk about, for the purposes of scheduling.
Your Honor, and just there's one other person that I'm Googled.
I'm going to ask her about the other
Okay.
witnesses. I received your supplemental witness list, I think yesterday. You have, in addition to Mr. Dworkin, you have Weaver, Barkman, again, Detective Moffett, Jeffrey White, Melanie Gibb, and Zulema Pastanas.
Zulema Pastanas.
Okay.
Mhm.
Was Detective Moffett also involved in this case?
He was involved with the case agent of this case while he was the case agent of the other case, correct?
Okay. So he may or may not have, he may have relevant information. Again, I guess that's a wait and see. What about, who's Weaver Barkman?
So he's a ballistics expert.
Is that an expert? So that's an expert. Do you have an expert report that's been disclosed?
Not yet, Your Honor. We're working on it.
Your Honor, since I've not noticed a ballistics expert, that's a big problem, because if I get something, then I would have to do that. So the defendant's, again, extremely late violation of all rules of criminal procedure is a problem.
It is a problem. Who's Jeffrey White?
My investigator.
Oh, okay. And do you have an idea of in what capacity you think he would be called?
Well, we had made a request from the state for the car door and the window that the bullet supposedly hit. And we were going to have him inspect that as well. We have recently found out that those two things do not exist. So I'm not sure what they're going to be putting up as far as ballistics in their case in chief. So I was trying to have someone who could be able to look at whatever reports they're trying to put up and rebut anything that they're saying.
Is Mr. White an expert in that area?
Mr. Weaver?
No, I said Jeffrey White.
He's my investigator.
Right, that's who I was asking, who has relevant information. What's Mr. White's relevant information for, why might he be called as into trial?
Because he's interviewing the witnesses as well, the defense witnesses.
So is it some sort of extrinsic impeachment if they,
Correct.
what about Melanie Gibb?
So Melanie Gibb and Zelina Pastinas were both initially noticed in the state's 15.1. They have not noticed them again. I don't know if they can still call them if they're on their list, but
Have you,
they have relevant information to this case.
have they been presented for an interview by the state?
They've both been interviewed multiple times by the
I
state.
mean, not by police officers, I mean by either a prosecutor or someone in her office for, in preparation for trial,
In this case,
in either case.
not that I'm aware of.
Have they been subpoenaed?
The subpoenas are out.
What relevant information would they have?
They have relevant information to Brandon Boudreaux
Okay,
and around that
what
time.
is the nature of that relevant information?
It will come apparent if they have to get up and testify, Your Honor. I will only call them if I need
Well, they're going to
them.
be precluded if you can't give me some minimal, what relevant information they have. Just saying that they're relevant doesn't make them relevant. Okay?
Yes, and is this procedure that I have to say what each of my witnesses are relevant ahead of time and give my whole case in chief
Yes.
over to the state? It is?
Yeah.
That's
just
how
like-
it works?
like
That's
the-
the rules of law?
Stop interrupting me. Yes, that is the rule of law. That's just what the state does. They tell you what relevant information each witness has. So my answer is yes. So if you can't tell me what relevant information they have, they'll be precluded.
They both have had dealings with Brandon Boudreaux and Alex Cox. So
Okay, so does someone, that was a server for them at a restaurant. It doesn't make them have relevant information as to this case. Anyone who came into contact with Mr. Boudreaux or Mr. Cox had some interaction with them at some point in their lifetime does not make them a relevant witness. So what is their relevance?
the state had them on their witness list and they're saying they're not relevant?
Apparently not. Are you calling them?
No, they're not
Right.
on my,
Police interview however many people they interview because they're working on the case. They don't know who has relevant information, who doesn't have relevant information. All the people that they interview don't end up being relevant. So because they're listed in a police report somewhere, doesn't necessarily make them relevant.
Okay, their relevance lies in if they have to rebut something that the state puts on in their case in chief. They're just called in case they need them. They're subpoenaed in case I need them.
All right. It sounds like they don't have relevant information. However, I'll include these names on the potential witness list for screening the jurors if the jurors have any knowledge of any of these witnesses out of an abundance of caution. That's really the purposes for today is the questionnaire that goes out to the jurors. So I will include these witnesses. Again, Mr. Dworkin, Mr. Barkman, if they're expert witnesses that haven't provided any sort of report or expert witness testimony, they're likely to be precluded as witnesses. But I'll include them on the witness list. I think what I'm hearing is you said you might finish on the 9th or the 10th? I'm going to indicate on the questionnaire to the jurors, potential jurors, that the trial is likely to end by June 13th, Friday, June 13th. However, I'll include that Monday, the 23rd as and kind of say, if needed or if required, might go to June 23rd out of an abundance of caution. So I'll finalize that questionnaire. It's pretty much done, and it's pretty much the same as the last one, except for the names of the witnesses, the specific allegations. And then I removed the question about viewing medical examiner autopsy type photos because that's not needed in this case. But I'll send you guys out a copy. Actually, I could probably finish it in the next couple of minutes and print out a copy so you have it before you leave here today. That questionnaire, I need to get with the jury office. I think we were talking about sending it out the 22nd and cutting it off the 28th or 27th. And then we'll meet again on the 29th in this courtroom to go over the responses. That'll be at 1 p.m. on the 29th.
Your Honor, in light of the juror misconduct or the alleged juror misconduct, I have to object to us having so much information go out about my personal information in that jury questionnaire. Do you not think that was a problem?
What personal information?
The state versus Lori Daybell.
What's the name of the case?
Yeah, but you don't put that on anyone else's questionnaire, or one other person that's ever had that questionnaire ever put out with their name on it. They just don't do it.
Do it in every trial I've done.
Then the people are just going to Google it, and then we're going to have the same exact problem we had getting a jury for that case. We're going to have the same exact problem.
Are you done? Are you just going to keep? Okay. How do we screen for if people have heard about you if we don't include your name? You have a response to that?
I'm just saying, you gave them the name and they're just going to Google it.
They're instructed not to Google it. All right. And if you'll recall, when we had all the jurors come in person, one of the first questions I asked them in the afternoon was, who has looked up this case since you filled out the questionnaire? And we had 2 or 3 people raise their hand, and those people were excused. So I have to include your name to screen out for the people that know about your case. And we released about 100 jurors last time because of their answers to that. If we don't include your name, that's 100 extra jurors we have to go through in person and ask if they know you. And in fact, that increases the risk of tainting the rest of the jury pool. If we have someone stand up and say, yeah, I know about her case in Idaho where blah, 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 in front of the rest of the jurors, that'll burn the whole panel. We'll have to start over. So I'm going to include your name in the questionnaire. I don't think there was any other personal information or background information about you in that questionnaire other than your name. So was there any other issues you had with the questionnaire?
No, Your Honor.
So the schedule will be, we'll meet 1 p.m. to go over those answers on the 29th. On the 30th, we'll meet at 10. We'll have walk-in jurors that morning that will fill out the questionnaire. And then the people that survive are screening on the 29th, and those that survive the morning of the 30th will come in the afternoon of the 30th. This will be back in the courtroom we were in last time, 5D of the South Court Tower. Again, I expect to seat that jury that some point that afternoon. And then we'll plan on going Monday through Thursday, June 2nd to June 5th. Then June 9th to June 13th, and if need be, June 23rd.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I would have to ask that you would recuse yourself from the obvious personal bias that you have against me and send us to master calendar for this scheduling of a trial.
And what personal bias is that?
A lot, obviously, the personal bias that you're showing right now and that you've shown on the FTR several times during the trial.
Okay, well, I don't have any personal bias, all right? I've over accommodated you on when you have to disclose things. In fact, your expert should be summarily precluded today, and I haven't done that. All right? So
You denied every single one of my motions since for a year and a half that I've been here. Every single one of my motions has been denied. And have any of those motions not have merit? You've denied every single motion.
I think I was here this morning about 15 minutes ago when I granted your motion to meet with your attorneys over the lunch hour. I have granted other motions of yours. Okay,
That's the first motion that you've ever granted
well,
in my behalf.
file motions that have a legal basis and I might grant them.
So you're saying none of my motions have had merit.
Not many, no.
And none of the motions that my first team, you denied every one of my first team's motions. You denied every one of my second team's motions. And now you denied every one of my motions until today.
I haven't denied every one of your motions.
Every single one of their motions was denied. Every single one of the second team's motions were denied, and all mine. So you didn't come into this with any bias against me in the first place?
Again, file a motion that has legal merit, okay?
And none of my attorneys ever filed a motion with any legal merit?
They filed a motion on your behalf, the first team, to preclude media coverage, and I issued my ruling according to the law, all right? They filed a motion to have you dressed out, not in jail clothes during hearings like this, okay? That was not based in law. I denied that motion. So I've ruled on the motions as required by law.
Without any kind of a conclusion of law in them, just denied, 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 denied. Does that not show a bias and a prejudice against one single person?
All right, are you done?
Are you not going to recuse yourself?
No, I'm denying your motion. Anything else? All right, I was handed a motion to suppress all evidence pertaining to Jeep Wrangler.
I have not received that.
Kylie's Jeep.
Did you probably got a copy of it today or not?
No.
Oh, do we need to make copies? All right, go ahead and make copies for the state. I also have a motion to dismiss for non-preservation of crucial evidence. So make a copy. I guess the state can file their response to those. All right, anything else for today from the state's perspective,
No, Your Honor.
from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll see everyone on the 29th at 1 p.m. Again, that's in this courtroom.
The whole world's against you, Lori. The queen has been denied.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
She's sitting there shaking her head thinking, one day, what does she say that she's the chosen one? She's the chosen one, and one day we will all regret this. And she and Chad will be together in her new fake heaven that she has. She needs to get the Bible and start reading it and work on herself, really, is what she needs to do, and not worry about the case. She's set for life. I mean, you've got all your bills paid, Lori. They're going to pay for your food and your rent and your clothing, everything. It's all taken care of. Just go relax and read the Bible because you need to. Well, they didn't talk about at all. They didn't talk about the motion that she filed to request a new trial. Surprised me a little bit. Yeah, she needs to look for the real Jesus, not the one that she thinks is that has all these prophets running around like they're passing out prophets like they are Snickers bars. That's not what's going on. Oh, good gracious. Okay, I have a video I want to show you guys right. If you're still with me and you enjoy comedy. So Jean sent this video over to me earlier in an email. Oh shoot, where'd it go? Is this it? Nope, I'm gonna have to show it in another video. Sorry. I downloaded it, but it's on my other PC, so I'll have to show it later. It's a video of Darrell Brooks fighting. But that's all we have today, you guys. That's it. I've got to get to editing. I've got stuff to do. I've got videos to put up. And look, Smokey Joe's got to go get ready for work. Perfect timing. There you go. Yeah, I can't go to the casino. My free play's not ready on the casino till tomorrow, so I got to wait. I got to wait it out. No, don't leave me. Why do y'all think she was getting so pissy? I think she feels like the judge is the reason she lost her last trial. Has she not figured it out yet? Somebody not sat her down and told her what's happening. I swear, I think she keeps going on a pee break every time they're explaining it because she does not understand that all these things have happened because of her. Everyone around her has been dropping like flies. And the only reason they stopped dropping like flies is because she is where she needs to be right now. You guys, I kept thinking about this the other day when I was editing something. The whole fact that Daybell's kids are still alive. Does Lori not look upon that and go, oh. Now, is it because his kids were grown and out of the house and didn't bother him? I wonder why I know that Tylee was, in her teenage years, she was being a teenage brat, to them. And she was probably jumping back at a lot of stuff they were doing. She was probably calling them out on a lot of stuff they were doing. Rightfully so, right? But then JJ was acting up because he's got the, what they call it? What's he, I can't think of the name. What does he have? What did he have? So he had shortcomings he was born with. And so he acted out. And so they were problems to them. Autism, thank you. But it was a heavy case of autism, wasn't it? Autistic. So they were in the way. Those two were in the way. Whereas Chad's children were grown. But I just wonder if Lori doesn't ever look back on it and go, how come my kids were zombies and your children weren't? Do y'all wonder about that? The other thing I wonder about too is, though, why are Chad's children, why were they so calm about their mother being gone? Why didn't they raise any red flags about what happened to mom and their dad being tied into all this? It's like they believe the whole thing about him being a prophet too, I think. I'm wondering. And the way that for them to tell the story, it's as if the mom would feel like, well, if I need to go, that's if he says I need to go, I need to go. Anne says she thinks Tylee stood up to them for JJ. It could have been that. That could have been it. I know that Lori made a comment that Tylee did not like Chad. So, but Chad was, remember they said at one point, Melanie made a comment that they went up to the room with JJ, or Chad went up to the room alone with JJ because he was acting out and he was going to discipline him or trying to get him to calm down. JJ comes back down and he's got red marks on his neck. And old Melanie, do nothing right, does not do anything about it. She doesn't call the cops or nothing because she asked him about it, but he said, oh, he scratched his neck. See, the people like that were just believing these people, they irritate me too. Yes, Bob Kitten, I think all of his children supported him. I'm looking in the chat to see if anybody else says anything about the children. Y'all know anything else about Chad's children's? The children's? They trusted Chad. Yeah, I don't know if they felt like he was a prophet or if they were on that level with the church thing, or is it that they were just like, we're going to respect our father? But your mother dies and all this other stuff is suspicious around it, now you've got somebody ruling that the father has done the deed, and you don't have an issue with that. I mean, I would have to say choosing between your mother and father would be hard, but if one of them harmed the other one and took that person away from me, then it would make it less hard. Just insane. This whole case is just insane. Um, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I've been dropping some stuff on Mickey Steins, the sheriff that shot the judge. That case is just, that's a lot of, like, that's one of those that we're trying to figure out what's going on. It's getting to the point to where there's so many rumors going on about that case. I have to be really careful. I have some speculations about what I believe is going on in that case. Um, but there could be 3 or 4 different things that are going on that none of us know about too, you know? So anyway, we've got that case. I do want to cover the Brian Kohlberger trial when it comes up. I know we have not done anything on this channel about that case, but unless you've been 6 feet under for the past year, everybody knows about that case. Everybody knows the basics of that case, and that's really all I need to get started with it. Actually, sometimes knowing too much about a case can kind of get in the way with us, you know? I think sometimes we go into some of these cases and we know a little bit too much, and we don't get to look at it from the jury standpoint and what only the jury knows. So anyway, I guess we'll hear back on Lori's discussion in regards to her motion that she filed for a new trial. What's the difference? She's going to be in jail anyway. Of course, I guess she thinks that her plea deal over there is going to get taken care of. I don't know. Anyway, we'll get back to that later. I really appreciate you guys being here with me today. I know you could have been elsewhere. I know there's plenty of other people covering this stuff, but I appreciate you guys trusting me with your time. And I will see you. I will be dropping some videos later this week, but I will definitely see you on Monday when we do more with the Jodi Arias trial. We are getting closer and closer to the state resting in that one. And you know what that means. That means that they're going to put Jodi on the stand. And when she goes on the stand, I guarantee you the views go up. I guarantee it. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. From everything I've heard about it, it should definitely be crazy. All right. Be good, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you then.